conservative girl meets fake Muslim refugees at sea, makes them wish they never migrated. As the ceaseless flood of economic migrants heads to our shores, they have learned that deliberately sinking their own boats will force rescue ships to save them. However, after these fake refugees encounter one young conservative woman's ship, they'll soon regret ever leaving their country, considering the surprise she has in store. Despite the fact that 72% of migrants are men and 76% of child asylum seekers are adults, liberals continue to welcome in economic and criminal illegal aliens, putting their own citizens in immediate danger. While most will statistically never attain employment and will forever live on welfare, the disproportionate amount of sexual assaults that Muslim asylum seekers commit is even more troublesome. Fortunately, certain patriots are taking a stand in the West to stop these hopeful invaders from devastating Europe with violence and oppression like they have in their own countries. Express reports that conservative Canadian activist Lauren Southern has teamed up with organization Generation Identitaire in the Defend Europe movement by stopping illegal migrant boats full of middle-aged Muslim men from reaching Europe. When the crew encounters migrant flotillas, they will reportedly take aboard the excited migrants only to return them back to Libya, from which most are migrating. Despite having been detained multiple times for peacefully opposing Europe's cultural suicide by open borders, the right-wing beauty vows to continue to not only safely return migrants, who purposefully capsize their own ships, but also to block NGO ships that refuse to stop illegally importing thousands of criminal invaders. We will not cause anyone to lose their life. If there is a call for help or distress, we have to follow the law and help people, but we will not be bringing them back to Europe, we will be brining them back to Libya, she said. There are little things we can do, we will not be harming people. The NGOs are supposed to sink the migrant boats so they cannot be reused, and we are fairly certain they are not doing that. Expectedly, bleeding heart liberals, who bring in hordes of dangerous migrants but don't house them, falsely purported that the migrants are refugees who are simply trying to escape political persecution. Luckily, Southern isn't so easily fooled and immediately shot down their baseless claims with actual statistics. The UN is a very pro-migrant organization, yet it was they who reported 70% of people coming are economic migrants, she said. A very small percentage are coming because they fear for their safety, and there is no distinction made by the NGOs. Southern slammed leftists who emotionally charge that she is trying to kill refugees, reminding them that she supports actual asylum seekers but will always fight against the mass import of militant Muslim men who've left behind their women and children. There are currently people, real families, who are stuck in these countries and waiting for legal asylum to Europe, she added. They are families, and they are waiting 5 years because fighting-age men are coming over illegally on boats. This is infuriating. The EU needs to approach this more responsibly instead of opening the floodgates and putting European lives in danger. Southern and her fellow activists have already encountered several migrant flotillas, including a human trafficking boat posing as a refugee ship. We are Change reports. We're doing this is because you got an illegal trade of people that are being imported by government willingly because they are voting for democratic left-wing parties and they like that, so they are importing voters. They're also cheap labor for big corporations, so they love importing this cheap labor. And also there's an agenda of trying to destroy European identity going on from the far left, and all of this is unacceptable to the European youth. Even the left-leaning Guardian confirmed that the majority of the 180,000 asylum seekers who arrived in Italy in 2016 left from Libya and are economic migrants. Tragically, many of the migrants who are brought to Libya by human traffickers with the promise of heading to Europe are sold into the Arab slave trade. In exchange, violent migrants and repeat criminals are sent ahead in their place. Although there are legitimate refugees who simply desire safety and acceptance, the majority of migrants bypassing numerous safe countries for Europe are merely migrating to spread their violent and oppressive religion and culture while living on welfare. Please share the story and tell us what you think by clicking one of the buttons below. We want to hear your voice.